more of the broader demo day in terms of seeing different products that came about across different pods. So super, super excited. Um, so we have a few people that are on the call that are here to see the demo day. So just to recap, what is SnapCamp? It's a 3 week intense, very intense boot camp where we teach you how to vibe code by matching you with one-on-one engineering support. So the idea is for everyone to go from idea all the way to having something deployed on production, functional by the end of the demo day. It's pretty intense because we get to cover a lot, and the entire bootcamp is run on our platform, which is SnapDev, which is vibe coding plus one-on-one engineering support. Um, so this cohort, we had 21 participants, three mentors, and over 80 hours of engineering support that was provided to participants, which is a lot, of course. So our boot camps are like super intense, and we're super involved. We make sure every participant gets through to the finish line. So that's a big thing for us as we do these cohorts. So today we're gonna go through all the products that were built over the last 3 weeks, and we will be announcing the top three winners and by the end of it. So super excited to see that. We're going to give everyone around 7 to 8 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes for demos, and then 1 to 2 minutes for Q&A if there are any question and answers. And then did we have any
Shi,
question?
वो कम तक कर कमानी दे भी नहीं
Sir,
खाएंगे
you
फिर
are
तू
on. Mudassir, you are on, not mute, so please mute. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. So finalists, we have three. So we have Andy. So we have all these finalists on the screen. We will share, Mudassir, if you can share the list in the chat. We had some people that were not available that have some pretty incredible projects, but they were not available today. But Mudassir, please share the sequence of how we're going to be going through the demos so that people can prepare. And as we mentioned before, winning prizes, you get 1 month free of our Pro Plus membership, and then second and third is like 1 month free Pro membership. So if you go for these, buy the bootcamp, we'll also roll over $50 of credits that you've not consumed into these memberships. If you win, we will still top it up, and even if you win and you subscribe, we'll give you still an additional month or the additional hours that you were going to get if that you're going to get. So if you win the challenge, you still have already subscribed, you still get that additional 1 month or the additional credits. um Okay, awesome. So again, thank you everyone for making this possible. Cassie, Danny, Garrett, who were our facilitators, Katrina, Eric, and Sean, who were our mentors that have always, been supporting us, especially Katrina and Sean that have been there since day one. And then, of course, Cassie, Danny, and Garrett. Eric, thank you so much for volunteering this time. I know you joined last time. So for this was the first time you were mentoring. So thank you so much for dedicating the time and the effort. Really appreciate it. And then once again, huge shout out to Ha, who has been our cheerleader behind the scenes. I know she's not been joining these calls, but this video will go on YouTube, and I want to make sure that we give a big shout out to her because she makes all of this possible behind the scenes. Then we have our core team who has been absolutely incredible. The engineers led by Osama. Osama is like just everywhere, not just engineering. So whether it's engineering, whether it's editing slide decks, he's like working 24/7 to make this possible. And then of course we have Aliz and Tayyib who work on a core product, and then Eamon and Mudassir who do operations behind the scenes. We also have, like I said, over 30, 40 engineers, support engineers that help during these cohorts. We have more engineers per person than people in the boot camp. And we have like as much support as you could possibly get to make sure we take your ideas and help you all the way to building live products. important information. So your deployments will remain active for 1 month, even if you don't subscribe to a membership. This is just so that we don't take anything down immediately. The reason we do charge the $25 starter plan is because we have to pay for the deployments on render and $10 LLM credits that you get. And then you will have access to all the tools by end of day today. If you are without a membership plan, but I would highly encourage you to upgrade so that you continue to get access. You can you can also use the tools using your own API keys, but there's some limitations. So for example, um, Anthropic doesn't allow you to have that big of a token limit if you subscribe yourself. So it would be a good idea to subscribe, maybe like for if you want to continue using and have your products deployed, then for the starter plan, but then would highly encourage the Pro and Pro Plus plans because that comes with engineering support as well. We've already covered these yesterday. Just sharing this again because there might be a couple of new people that are watching this. So these are all the plans that we have. Each plan, except the starter plan, comes with human engineering support. So actual human engineers helping out whenever you get stuck post bootcamp. And the apart from the starter plan, we also have our bi-weekly accountability calls. These calls are just an extension of the bootcamp. So we all come together in pods and discuss how things are going. They happen every other Tuesday. So a continuation of the bootcamp. But even if you don't subscribe to any plan, you'll still be a part of our Slack channel. You'll have access to us. So feel free to, reach out to me or Eamon or Mudassir if you have any questions. We have so we are going to be sharing this. So we have a referral program. So if you refer someone to our bootcamp, you will get 1 month of free subscription as well. So this is super interesting. If you end up referring 12 people, which is what somebody did for January cohort, by the way, is that they get pretty much the entire year for free. Um, and we are in January, we're planning to run two cohorts, two boot camps. It's still not finalized. We'll send an email to everyone. One is going to be a 2.5 week, rapid fire sort of cohort. And then the other one is going to be our general 2.5 weeks. It's not finalized yet. We're still finalizing the general one. There's something new. We decided to do only 2.5 days, but we still might run another 2.5 week one. So it's still a work in progress. Um, Reminder, please review us on Maven. This is what's going to help us expand. It's going to take 2-3 minutes of your time, but would really help us as we continue to grow this community and we continue to run these boot camps. And yeah, finally, please give us feedback. I think Mudassir will be chasing each and every one of you for feedback. This is the most critical for us because we want to learn what we did well and what we can improve in. So he'll be periodically reaching out until you fill them out. So he'll be chasing every individual to make sure we get feedback from you. So this is our form for our 17th to 18th January 2.5 week, 2.5 day build weekend. So this is an exciting experiment that we're doing, which is shrinking the entire 2.5 weeks into 2.5 days, but then also continuing post 2.5 days just with the community element. But the idea is you come in with an idea and you leave with at least one functionality feature within 48 hours. It's very ambitious. It's not going to be 1 hour per day. It's going to be 5 to 10 hours per day for the 2 days that we do it. So covering like shrinking the entire total number of hours you spend that we spend with you into 48 hours. So please scan the QR code. Would highly encourage you to recommend people for this. This is going to be an exciting experiment. We haven't publicly launched this yet. We'll do that next week. But this is going to be an exciting experiment for us to see if we can deliver something in 2 days, and post those 2 days you still get access to the community, and we'll probably create some pods and all of that structure. But This is going to be like a very big crash course in terms of what you've done in 2.5 weeks in two days. So it's a good experiment we're running. Let's see how it goes. Um, Early bird is $500 for those 2 days. We'll still have the same number of hours or more that we'll be doing these sessions. And early bird ends on the 19th of December. Awesome. I have taken more than 10 minutes, which is what I had allotted to myself. So that covers all the logistical stuff. Once again, super excited to see all the demos today. And yeah, with that, let's get started. We will have, like I said, 5 minutes of demo and then 2 to 3 minutes of Q&A. So first up, we have Andy, if he is on call. Andy, please share your screen and let's get started. I will be taking time on my stopwatch. While Andy is setting it up, does anyone have any questions? Because I covered a lot of things, but most of them I had already covered. Awesome. No questions. Andy, let's do it. Super excited, everyone. Andy, let's start.
All right, thanks. Assuming everybody can hear me. So my project for now is called Homeownership Cost Saver. The problem that we're trying to solve is that homeowners struggle to find and access utility assistance programs. And there are dozens of programs across multiple utilities, but there's not a single space where they can go to find out. So if I just found out that, my offer's accepted, I'm starting to move into my house, but I have no idea what the utilities are. I have no idea where to even begin and where to even find discounts. And so this project is hoping to help connect those different avenues and make it really simple for someone to get into the data details of their utilities and be able to manage that moving forward. So this is the homepage for it. It's very simple. Someone just needs to enter in their email. And so, for example, here, I just pretend I'm going to move into this house right here. It'll pull up my email or pull up the address. Sorry. We're going to go ahead and click on Find Programs. And what it does behind the scenes is go ahead and look up your address, find out what the utilities are for that place, and then pull up all the different rebate programs that it can find from those utility sites, from the local government, and also from federal sites as well, to find out where you can find the maximum savings. And then it separates it in a couple different categories in terms of utility, um, water district, and also just federal. So you can easily manage and look through what you qualify for. It is a lot of information. It's pretty dense. So for example, some low-hanging fruit here in terms of effort level. And one of the things I like personally is just adding in a smart thermostat. So for example, if I want to find more information, I can find out here that it's going to cost about $200, but hey, what do you know? SoCal Gas offers me $75 off, so I can find out and get that information here. So next step, after I've gone through really quickly highlighting what sort of programs are available for me, maybe not wanting to go through a solar project just yet immediately, but let's see what this thing has planned for me. So I'll click on Show Me My Action Plan, and it tells me that, again, this is a crawl, walk, run sort of approach. We're going to start small and build our way up to these larger projects that are a little bit more intense, both in terms of time and money, but offer potentially the most return. So first step, let's just make sure that we are set up with our utility. It provides me with our utility portals and gives me a little bit of some guidance of what to do and expect over the next weeks and months. After that, then we can start looking at what are the free programs that the local city provides too. So a lot that we don't know about generally is that these municipalities, the cities will provide free home audits, free consultants to come out to you, and nobody takes advantage of that stuff to help you save on your utility costs. Once I get through with that, then I can take a look at what other things can I apply for my own residents. So after I've tracked some of my data, I can start considering what areas I want to save or want to focus on lowering costs for. And then once I get through those, then I can continue to go into higher effort level, potential greater wins for my property too. So do I want to update my backyard, lower the water bills? For example, I had a $1,000 water bill for 2 months finding a leak. Now, something like these might be able to help out. Smart thermostat or even like water gauges. And then lastly, these large projects as well. So we'll provide some guidance on that. The last part on this page is really just a data center for or a reference center for your property as well. So when you move in, you can easily just come here and find out what are the sources that I can go to help me manage my property. Okay, and once we're done with there, then I can download my action plan as a PDF, or I can sign on to learn more. And that's it.
That's awesome, Andy, and it's like pretty well built end to end. If anyone has questions, please post in the chat, or raise your hand. Okay, Ryan, you have a question.
Great job, Andy. Just a couple, I guess, one suggestion and one question. The suggestion is maybe provide a link to a template of a tracking sheet that people could use or start with would be maybe helpful. That maybe already has some cells and calculations locked in there. The other thing is I'm curious like how this site will be sustainable. I don't see any type of like way that you'd be making money or charging for this. And so just sort of wondering what you're sort of if there's like a if this is just a purely nonprofit thing, but there's still this concept of no margin, no mission, of like how you'd keep this sustainable, or if this is like we try to somehow partner with some of these partners that you're advertising here to make money or otherwise.
Yeah, good question. First of all, thank you for the tip. That's super helpful. Understandably, like, this is just super simple, and I appreciate all that. In terms of the question, monetization, right now, this is primarily just surfacing data that's publicly available. So I personally felt kind of awkward if I want to try to monetize that. But longer term vision of being able to provide some service for folks would be once we start collecting more data, getting a little bit more complexity into the data management behind the scenes. I think there's opportunity to potentially be like a overall like a home hub of sorts. And so, like, if you want to monitor your utility usage, you want to have somebody that helps essentially be your home agent, manage looking at your utilities, making sure that there's no spikes in usage in certain things, helping to see where you can potentially save. There's utility APIs that operate for that. On a greater picture, it would be like a really neat thing just personally to have something that just monitors everything around the home. So reducing all home costs. So it could range from your home insurance, helping to monitor what rates are available that nobody, reviews yearly or annually. Same thing with property value reassessments. Nobody takes advantage of those for the most part too. And so that's sort of like the greater idea. But just starting small, helping with quick wins, utilities are generally a pretty big pain point too.
Awesome. Yeah, something else that just came to mind is maybe you could offer this as like a service to counties or cities that pay you annually to like maintain a up-to-date resource that maybe they point to from their websites or something, so you can maybe make some recurring revenue from that to at least support the costs initially.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I actually spoke with someone from Santa Monica Waterworks, and they said they try to tell people about their programs, and one of their biggest problems is trying to distribute that information and get people to sign on to these free things too. And they go through local organizations, and she asked me, when's the last time you talked to a local organization? But thanks.
Awesome. Andy, question for you from Jane. Is this nationwide or region specific?
Right now, it's just LA, just to minimize it. I have a tiny toggle at the bottom just to start testing out with California, just to make sure that the data pops up right and so on, but keeping it relatively small to start.
Amazing. Awesome. This is incredible, Andy, and thanks for sharing. So next up we have Sharon. Everyone, please take notes for each individual because pretty soon you'll start forgetting projects. So just make like a short note of what it's about so that when we vote in the end, there's going to be voting within the Zoom call right after the demos. So just so that you have a note of what each project does. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Andy. Sharon, let's take it away.
And I'm Sharon, and I'd like to introduce you to Kirby. Kirby is designed for, give me a sec. Kirby is designed for the busy San Francisco resident. Um, that's pretty much spends their day doing child drop off, doing meeting friends for lunch, taking care of family members, running errands, going to doctor's appointments, and so it essentially tells you where you can legally park in San Francisco, no matter given your time duration and also given your where you are. So I'll walk you through how that looks and feels. So this is my phone, and this is Kirby. Kirby, the first use case is Kirby automatically geolocates you, and so you can start to look for parking in your vicinity. And give me. So here I am, and I can look for parking around here. And as I zoom out, you can see how parking eligibility can change. And say I'm only here for the next hour because I'm just doing a quick child drop off at school, at band practice. Now you can see that actually I have a lot of options for the streets where I can drive and look for street parking. But if I'm here for the next 3 hours, you can see that I probably wouldn't look for parking to the east. I would probably drive the blocks around on the left side to my west, and that's where, because my likelihood of finding Lee Street parking is much higher there. And it also will explain in a very straightforward and simple way the rules around why you can or can't park somewhere. So for example, the reason I can park here is because there are no restrictions right now. But the reason I can't park here is because it is a 2 hour parking limit. And it also has, and if it were a Wednesday, I couldn't park here because it'd be street cleaning. So there's also this capability for Kirby to let you sort of plan where you're headed next and where you might want to look for parking. So if I am dropping my child off at school today, give me one sec. So if I'm dropping my child off at school today, okay, let's try this. I'm going to go meet a friend over at Tartine. We're going to have pastries. We're going to go for a walk in Golden Gate Park. I'm going to spend about 3 hours there. And hold on one sec.
Yeah. Sharon, I think there's also like maybe your internet is slightly slower because your voice is also breaking a little bit, for me at least.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I've been having some issues. Hold on.
Okay,
I
we can
may be
see the
having a
screen now.
connectivity issue. Okay. Well, let me take my it's funny, during testing this morning, it worked. So, but we'll try something like this. I'd like to go here. And if I like to go here, it'll actually default to my own phone's default navigation experience and take me there. And so what it does is it lets me sort of determine if I'm going out for date night, if I'm dropping my child off at school, or if I'm going to meet a friend for coffee. It will show me sort of like where I can go look for parking. I can click on those blocks and then I can actually navigate to those blocks. Unfortunately, it is not loading at all right now, but that's the experience.
This is pretty incredible. I think there's like maybe some connectivity issue on your side because your voice was also breaking and your Zoom is also slightly blurry. So I have a quick question, Sharon. You might have covered it in the beginning, but where are you getting this data from?
It's coming from SF Open Data. It's all the San Francisco urban planning data that the city provides for researchers and for government departments.
Super incredible. This is
And
like
yeah, the other thing, one of the challenges of this was I really didn't want to, the other alternative to looking for parking in the city and seeing where you can legally park given your time duration is to just drive very slowly, block by block, until you see a sign that says you can park there at that point in time for the duration you want. And so that is a very low friction alternative. And so part of the design for Kirby is to focus on making this a very low cost using only open source technology and products. And so all the mapping capabilities and also the data, it's all designed so it can be free to make life easier for San Francisco residents.
is super helpful. So I live in San Mateo and I dread going to SF because of the entire parking situation. And yeah, there's like, but anyone has any questions?
Oh, and there's one more thing that's interesting is recently someone pointed out to me that sometimes you don't want to you don't might have left your wallet at home, you don't want to pay metered parking, you really only want to look for really where you can just park for time durations without having to pay meters. And so there's this capability to sort of like to turn off the meter capabilities. So you're only seeing the blocks where you can actually go and look for non-metered parking that's free. And if you're indifferent and you just really want parking, you can actually pick. So hopefully, Christine, like you find a chance to use Kirby when you're in San Francisco.
Definitely. Also, like one interesting event. So I was at an event playing poker at like 2 a.m. and I knew that the parking expired. Like, you weren't allowed to park post 2 a.m. So I literally moved my car. And then when I came back at 3, wherever I moved it, I had still gotten a parking ticket because it wasn't clear that, it wasn't clear that the other road also had the same limit. So this is super helpful.
Yes, that is a very common. Yeah, that is a very common occurrence, and that has happened to me. And that's why I really wanted to decode the rules in a very clear and concise way that makes it very easy for anyone to just click on a block and understand exactly what's happening for that block.
Yep, yep. And then Sharon, I got an email. So basically, your web service on render exceeded its memory limit. That's why it crashed in the middle. So you might have to upgrade that. So
Okay, thanks for the heads up.
awesome. Perfect. If anyone has any questions, we have time for one more, and then we can move on to the next demo. Okay, no questions. Awesome. Lots of comments for you, Sharon, in the chat. Awesome UI for sure. Sam, you're up next.
Thank you. I will share my screen. 1 second. Oh, that looks weird. Cool. Here we go. Yeah, hello everyone. My name's Sam. I'm a product designer based in Australia, and this is my product Train. So essentially, Train is the most adaptive and personalized training platform out there. So there are tons of training platforms out there. You may have used some, but there's a couple of things that make Train very different, and I'll go through what they are. So when you first come to Train, you would be putting in a goal. Now, I'm going to not put in that link. I'm going to go to Notion and give me a second. I'm just going to copy all of this in, and I'm going to put in a goal. So I'm putting in a specific event, but you could put in anything. You could put in just want to maintain your level of health or fitness. You want to improve it. You're just coming back. You're training for a multi-day hike. You could do anything, and then you can go into this conversation. And what makes Train different is that it is specifically for you. So as you go through this conversation, it's going to ask questions about your training history, your injury history, your current training, what you're trying to achieve, as well as some life context as well. So what does your typical week look like, and any preferences you have. So as you go through this conversation, the main thing it's really doing is capturing a lot of information. Now, I'm not actually going to go through the whole conversation because it's quite in detail. It can take a little bit of time, but some of the key things that it's pulling out is all of your injury history so that it makes sure that is taken into context when planning your training program, your anything to do with like typical schedule so that it schedules your events or activities around that. And you can go through and you can put everything in. So this is now reflecting some of the goals that I put in. It's asking questions specific to that. It's actually giving me a realistic attempt, like a assessment of my goal, saying that it's ambitious but not unrealistic. And then it progresses through this way here. One of the other things this training platform is capturing is it's not putting me in a box. So I'm training for a marathon, but I also cycle and do calisthenics. So through Train, you can indicate those things, and that will get incorporated into your plan. Now, I will focus most on the plan itself because that is where probably the biggest amount of effort went to. So I'll just sign into one that has an event. Sorry, has a training plan. So once you generate it, this is what you get. So this is taking into consideration all of the activities that I put in, and how it generates this is actually looking through scientific training protocols for each activity that I indicated. It then looks at how they work together and how they contribute to each other so that it can put together a really comprehensive plan, but one plan. It then assesses that for overloading risks or any injury risks, adapts it, and gives you your final plan as it is here. So this is just looking at your activities, but if I go up to the left here, you can see the actual plan itself. It's broken it down into all of the different blocks. I can see the rationale behind the whole plan, so why it was structured the way it was. I can go into the blocks itself and I can see the breakdown per week, which is interesting, but it's where we start getting into the structure of your activities. So each activity is structured in a way that it will be linked with Garmin or your training platform of choice. So you can get it onto your watch, you can complete the activities and then have it sync back. But what makes Train really special is your ability to adapt the training program after it's been developed. So if you go into actions, you can see all of these different ways that you can actually go about changing this. So I'm not going to use anyone. I'm just going to go in here and say, why don't I have a rest day? And this is now going to trigger an AI, or train as the AI to look across my training program, look across all of the activities, and start to assess and answer these questions. It can take a bit of time, but here we go. So it's looking at my plan. Recovery strategy uses active recovery, works well. Do I want something different? And I'm going to say, I would like an actual rest day. And now what's going to happen is it's actually going to look through my program and it's going to present options to me in terms of what I could do, how I could change this to make it more suitable to what I need. I could adapt this in any way. I could look at specific events, and here are the different options that it's presented. So I've got this option here where I replace Saturday's easy gravel ride with a full rest day. I could replace Monday's calisthenics class with a full rest day. And I can see each activity that's actually been affected by that as well. So I might just do Mondays, accept, and it's now replaced this activity here. So this is how you can adapt with it. I can do things where I can look for events and it will actually start to search and fit that in with my program. When I actually complete activities, it will celebrate, but also ask me to complete reflections so that as I go through this, it will constantly learn and adapt to how I train and how I am progressing. So that's a very quick run through. If you want me to demo any of the specific actions that we can see if we can break it, but it mostly works, I think. And yeah, if you have any questions, happy to answer any.
Sam, this is beyond incredible. So, like, first question, and I think everyone has this question, how did you do the UI? Because it does not look like an AI generated app at all.
Yeah. So as a product designer, I use Figma quite a bit. The day before the course, I actually just went into Figma. You can see if I can bring it up actually. And I can show you what it looks like because it can help if you know Figma. So I went in and I started designing what this could look like. I started with screens like this one over here. This is just kind of what I was designing. I had a base template. And then as I was actually building it with SnapDev, I was designing just very simple screens around what I wanted, focusing on certain modals. So this is chat history or chat session, which you can actually access, the actual activity, and you can see what it looks like. And then I was just feeding this in. And then in the actual tool itself, I should have just showed my screen, my whole window. You can see what it looks like. So this is the chat history one. You can go into it. You can see the whole history there. I can go into the other ones as well. As I said, like I'm not sure if there's a repeating block in here. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, there's some where it's like this is repeating and you can see how all of the sets go down. So that's kind of how I was just using it as a way to influence what I want. And then I went way above my MVP. I put in like voice to text. So this is now actually transcribing because I got really tired of typing. And then it will actually transcribe it, put it into the chat message here as well. You can send it. I put in hotkeys so I can trigger things with like the slash. That's how I open it and all of those things as well. So yeah, that's kind of how I went about it.
How long did you like build all of this? How many hours did you spend per day on this on average?
So given that I'm in Australia, it's currently 3:30 a.m. So normally the class would be from 3 till 4. I'd work on it from about 4 till 8, and then I'll go to my actual job. So normally 4 hours during the week, wouldn't work on weekends. But yeah,
That's
like yeah, it was really fun. Trying to work with AI tools to program AI tools is definitely interesting, but if you want any tips, I can definitely share them. For some of them, for example, this is one model, but depending on the action that you select, it's prompt loading, like it's using prompt loading to make sure that it produces the right outcome. I've got 5 AI agents behind this that work, and that's how the whole thing kind of works. So yeah.
This is awesome. Okay, I think we are over time. So if anyone has any questions for Sam, please post them in the chat. Thank you so much, Sam. Next up, we have Jane.
Okay, hi everyone. Good to be with you today. I built Emma Advisor, which is a AI college advising companion for families. So for families going through the college admissions process, it can be really stressful for parents, kind of trusting that their child has got this, they know what they're doing. And for the child, they can feel like their parents are nagging. It's very frustrating, and there can be a lot of conflict in this process. So I built Emma for parents and for their child, and I'm going to show you the more of the student view today. So imagine this is the parent, they're signing up, but then they purchase the subscription and give it to their child who's a junior in high school, which is a really critical year. So right off the bat, Emma's going to ask the student a few questions to show that this is really personalized. She's listening to the student. She wants to figure out more about them to create their journey through the college admissions process. So asking some questions like, what kind of school do you want to go to? What are you interested in? I'm a student. I want to go to a big university. That sounds exciting. Emma's going to serve up some very early options just based on the chat, but I want to explore a little bit more here. So I'm going to click into my dashboard and I see that Emma has made a learning plan for me or a plan for me. Like somebody has a plan for me, at least as a student. I don't have a plan for myself, but I'm like, oh, I don't think Emma's really reflecting me very well, how I like to learn. I need to discover myself a little bit in order to be able to understand what would be a good fit for me in terms of my college match. Again, I really want urban energy here. But I still don't feel like this is super reflective of me. So I'm going to click down and get a little bit deeper so Emma can know me better. And I really want to just have a little quiz about authentic abilities. So each of these quizzes is always dynamic. It's a little bit different every time. The LLM gathers information on the student user, and with that, we'll adjust that profile of the student. So they're getting to know themselves too. And I look through this and I say, okay, I think that reflects me. Again, it's resetting to outdoorsy. I want this urban energy. And then I can add my academics here. So um, adjust my GPA. I'm a junior, so I'm hoping to get that up. Take another AP class. And yeah, I didn't do so well on the SAT. Could improve on that. Don't know my class rank. And it's going to tell me how competitive I am for these different universities. It's going to load some matches. I'm going to give that a minute. I do have a data set behind here with 3,000 colleges this is running off of. So this is all real data here, mapped to SoulScan, to academics. This looks interesting. University of North Carolina, Boston. Okay, this is maybe getting to know me. I'm going to check and see the full list. It's going to serve up 12 matches for me initially, not to overwhelm me. I can scroll through. I don't really want faith-based. Large looks good. Christian values, but I just want to look at the West. You know, what are the schools here for me? And I can do by size or admissions rate. I can load more, but I don't really want outdoor. What's looking urban, Metropolitan State University. Okay, that's cool. And I can go down. Why is it an academic fit for me? What's it actually like at the university? I can get these stats. Again, this is all real data pulling in here. I can understand enrollment rate, admissions rate, 99%. I'm definitely going to get in. Don't have to worry about my test scores. And then the money is so important. What's the average net price? And it's broken down by income level. So I can look and see, okay, basically our family's making about this much. I'm going to be paying the full price. But most students get financial aid. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to heart that one, save it to my profile. I can go back through others. I can adjust here, really find those fits for me. Down here, then I can see the upcoming tasks. My two most important tasks, I can forecast those forward, but I really want to know how Emma's going to break that down for me to make me really competitive academics, clubs and leadership, my narrative for my college admissions applications next year. So I would click on secret formula that's not built out yet to really get that customized step-by-step journey. Down here, I have some insider tips that are actually really important for students to know. So once I feel good about where I am, what I'm learning about myself, some college matches, it's time for Emma or the student to actually let the parent know. Weekly, give the parent a weekly update on what I, the student, have been working on. So the parent gets off my back, stops nagging me about stuff. And I want to show the parent, this is who I am. Like, this is what I'm all about. I care about community and fairness. And this is what I've been working on. So stop nagging me about it. I'm making progress. These are some early schools I've been looking at. and then some weak conversation starters so that it's not like, what have you done? What schools are you looking at? But actually, like, let's talk about how I care about the environment and some science programs that connect to that and the schools that connect to that as well. Then I can copy that link or email it. We'll build that out to the parent so that they can have peace of mind that Emma's got it under control and that the child is working on this. So that's my demo.
Super cool. That's pretty incredible. Love the UI. So do we have any questions? Amazing. Okay, no questions. We are running out of time. Jane, thank you so much. This was absolutely incredible. Hope you enjoyed the experience as well. So if anyone has questions, let's please start leaving them in the comments because I think we're going a little over time. So if anyone has questions, please leave them in the comments. Next up, we have Kenlin.
All right, thank you. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Can everyone see this? Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
So I'm going to start with the problem, like just because to start with mine is the multi-omic data orchestrator for pharma and academic bioinformaticians who need to harmonize data across platforms so they can accelerate multi-omic analysis workflows. That is a mouthful. And so just to give you a little context, spatial biology is like fastly a new discipline in biology where you are both crossing the images with data. And it is, as this says, it's lighting it up. To give you a really quick idea of how does this work. So basically you start with, these are tissue slides. They are about 5 microns. You've got the basic anatomy, genomics, which is the DNA basis of our data, and transcriptomics, which is the translation from the DNA. And then you've got protein, which is downstream of the RNA. So you've got like the template, the code for the protein and then the actual protein. But what now we have is, in order to interpret it, there's a huge amount of data. Every vendor is coming out with new capacities, like basically, for example, like an experiment for the Cosmix SMI is 1 terabyte of data for 4 different slides. So it's huge. And that was actually 3 years ago. So anyway, so fast forwarding, now what are people doing? Like, this is a huge amount of data. So the open source community is iterating much more quickly than industry. And even though industry is going about releasing every quarter, new capacities, and a trend right now is multi-omics, like what I just showed you, where you've got the different omics, genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics. So with no further ado, I will jump over to the application itself. And so this is going to enable people to create new projects and to upload data. And this one's just like a basic, just the MVP is just the Cosmix, and which generates the transcriptomics and protein. And this also is NGS, which is the data, the DNA. To give you an idea, what this is going to do is it's going to take, there are certain CSVs which are the source of like a way to harmonize. Otherwise, you've got these, and these are the images. And it's like these are all overlays. You actually need these CSVs to tell where, basically to analyze and to generate the overlays of the DNA and different omics. So I'll go ahead and start. You just create a new project. And so this one is going to start with the Cosmix SMI. And for the demo, so it's going to have a little like metadata. And this tells, the XY, this is telling like where on the image are these different things, or the different targets. Polygons, this is related to images. And this is actually these would take much larger. This is I'm working on how to get this upload to work for regular data in a deployed environment. So these are actually the small versions. So first there's a spatial scaffold. So it's kind of like the, I guess the outline, so to speak. And then this one, you can optionally add the DNA. And so why is it optional? Because even spatial by itself can take weeks or months right now for bioinformaticians to work with the data, because they have to do a lot of confirmation of like the data, what they need is there. But now we want to go a step further and enable people to also visualize the DNA. So going to the mapping, this is where I guess the power of this application lives, is being able to map like a slide, for example, to a genomic library. And so in this case, sections, this being another section of tissue, a lot of times what they'll do is they will section very sequentially, and then you can figure out like approximately where this genomic data lives. So in this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and confirm the linkage. There's a way to do it per single cell or library. And then I'll continue to validation. Now this validation is based on, again, back to the bioconductor standards. So this actually is working on tested like on a requirement. So like I feel this is approximately what this is going to look like at the end. You know, when I share this with my colleagues, and then at the end, it's going to have a manifest. There's these different exports, and these are much smaller. But then this provides everyone a bundle, or the researchers or bioinformaticians with a bundle of data that allows them to link across platforms. And so then you can then export, and then you will, yeah, here's your export. It actually does come out with these 11 different kind of like tables to help them link the different data across the platforms. And that is it. Actually not quite. I'll go to the projects here. So again, this is both for our academic and pharma. Pharma has a very significant need to track what it was done where. So this UI will show them what files were actually used to generate the export, and have the name of the export and the date. So at least they have timestamps and like a way to track the data and the name that was used. So, and that's it. Any questions?
That's most of it I did not understand, but this is pretty incredible. Any questions?
I think just something that came up in our small group that'd be interesting you mentioned, Kendall, is just how much time this can potentially save people.
Yeah, like weeks or months. Like even just with the multi-omic data, there's like researchers that spend a much longer, like around that time frame, just with the data alone.
Oh wow, this is incredible. How well is it working? Like, is it like 80% there, 100% there?
I think it's, well, I think it's 80-ish. I'm gonna actually, after this, I feel good enough I'm gonna give it to somebody to see if they can work with it. But first I have to get a full, like a real data set in there. But I'm working with the engineers to get that refactored.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much. This is pretty incredible. Next up we have Ryan.
Everybody, could you see my screen? Great. So the app I'm building is to customize a museum tour for a large museum that I work with in an advisory role in England. And the problem we're trying to solve at the museum is there's over 100,000 objects on display across around 80 galleries on multiple floors. And a lot of visitors, when they arrive, are just completely overwhelmed about what they should see. And they end up just kind of putzing around and sort of walking to whatever is sort of near them or that happens to be next to the next object they looked at, which is great. There's lots of great things to see, and that's like a great way to experience a museum. But for people that want to, the idea for this app is for people that maybe want more of like a customized experience around themes or things they're interested in. This is sort of the main problem that what I'm calling the personal discovery navigator is designed to solve. So essentially here, how it works is you pick a theme, or you can also select, or you can also tell AI what type of experience you might want to have. You set your pace of how much time you have to explore, and then it generates a personalized tour for you to navigate the museum. So I'll go into the interface here. So we have preloaded 12 different themes. And then down at the bottom, sorry, you can also ask sort of AI to give it some prompts, but we'll click on one of the pre-curated themes first. So select motherhood, and I have about 60 to 90 minutes. And the app will then generate a personalized tour. So I'll go ahead and sign in just so this doesn't keep prompting me. And when you're signed in, actually, you have the ability to share a tour with someone else you might be planning a visit with. It also saves the tour in your profile, and I'll show that in a minute. But really, it gives you a list of objects that are all around that theme. Right now, I just put 100 objects into the database, although there's 8 million objects in their collection overall. And so for a real production launch of this, we actually want like real curated data on the back end and decide how many objects you'd want to actually include. But you can click into any object. It will give you a description of the object, talk about the historical context the object is in. So the idea here is to kind of take the place of, if it's a busy museum, you might see a bunch of people crowded around a glass case, and there's like one little tiny card with information everyone's kind of trying to see. And so the thinking here is that you kind of like experience that on your phone while you're looking, and just like not such a crowded way. And it also tells you about what's happening outside of the context of the specific object around the world, if you sort of want to put things into a broader global context. Also provided some linkages here to visit the official museums page for different objects if you want to get more information. And then added a AI bot here as well. So if you want to sort of ask specific questions about it, you can either type your own thing or use one of the prompts, and it will go and you can sort of have a whole conversation about the object. And then when you're ready to advance to the next object, we have an interstitial that pops up that tries to sort of connect the object you've just seen with the one you're going to see next. And the thinking here was to try to simulate what you might get with like a personalized tour, like a live tour in a museum where they're sort of walking you around and you're sort of getting that context between one thing to the next. So trying to sort of emulate that here through the app, and these are AI generated descriptions. But you continue the tour to the next object, brings up the object and all the same functionality for the next object. You can then go back to the tour. In addition to this list view of objects, we have, I did add some map functionality. I will say that I didn't spend a ton of time working on this in development because, first of all, it's a lot of this is sort of dummy data. But the idea here is that we'd have a map of the museum. These items on the tour would actually be overlaid over like the room. And it would give you like an optimized sort of tour route between 1, 2, 3, 4 to sort of maximize your efficiency as going through the museum. Let's see. And then you can also go to your profile to see, save tours if you want to look at it, and save tours for different themes. If you want to visit the museum multiple times, this could save it for you in a durable way. I also added some offline caching functionality. The Wi-Fi in the museum and cellular connectivity is pretty spotty. And so this is just the idea that when you sign in, generate your tour, it will cache all the images and information for you. So in case you lose connectivity in the museum itself, you can still have a good experience. Going back just to show the AI generated tour functionality, you can essentially say, I have show me medieval weapons and armor. And it will give you a personalized tour for that, similar to the ones that are pre-curated. And again, here's showing different types of battles or things having to do, and some of this is not medieval necessarily, but different things to do with warfare. And again, you can sort of click into any of them and have the whole immersive experience. Then the main page does, even if you're signed in as a guest, you can, let's see, sorry. Have this functionality where you can go view your tour history as well. So even if you're not signed in to a profile, you can still go in and kind of see the tours you just created. So that's the demo, and I would love your feedback and questions.
Right.
Do you have plans to do you have any plans to do it for do this for other museums? I know this would be helpful.
I don't, although I think that would be a use case. I do work on the British Museums Advisory Board, so this is sort of the first case we're trying to solve for. But it is a problem at many museums, and we really haven't found other museums who are in the same sort of industry or industry peers that have solved this either. So it is a real challenge.
Oh, hey, Ryan, a quick question. You may have said this, but I missed it. What kind of data did you feed into this from the museum? And how structured or unstructured was that?
It's pretty structured, the data that I used. I just created a database. I picked 100 objects of like the top 100 objects that I just asked the internet for. And then I went and downloaded images of all of them, and then asked AI to add tags based on the themes that I'd identified. For actual production data set, we'd basically ask the museum curation and exhibits team to populate a database with like authoritative information and like proper labeling about what would show up for what themes and what wouldn't show up for what themes. Also, the museum staff, like the galleries and stuff, they have a lot more information on like what would be the optimal path to travel. And so we could use sort of math to sort of work out the optimal path through the different floors. So it is pretty structured. What's unstructured is the AI sort of reading that information and then providing summaries and the linkages and then answering questions that like from the broader internet. The museum does have some brand safety concerns around hallucination. And so the AI is trained to be pretty conservative. And I have tested it like asking it random questions to see if it responds to me about, pool cleaning or something. And it's doing pretty well, but we probably want to actually train this like with like a RAG data set to sort of have it be more rooted in the actual official content of the museum. And there is no shortage of that available. Not all of it's public facing, but we'd be able to train it on the back end and for a production launch.
Got it. And how are you managing the guardrails today to make sure it doesn't tell you weird stuff?
It's mostly we set some stuff in like the specifications saying like you are a tour guide at the museum. All the information you should provide should be rooted in facts and education. Please, try to stick to authoritative historical sources. And so it's sort of rudimentary, but that's more or less the initial guidelines is sort of creating a persona for the AI to follow when it's responding.
Great. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. I'm going to take over for Qasim. He had to jump off for another quick call. So yeah, I think this is pretty incredible. This is the first time like in all these 5 cohorts, I'm seeing something which is like, focused on, let's say, museum. So this was like really unique. And I enjoyed it since I really do enjoy history and museums. So fantastic job for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, with that, I think let's move our to the next participant. Let's do Anja.
You are on mute, Anja.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheyenne. I'm going to go back to not messing with the demo gods. And so I re-recorded my walkthrough on YouTube. So I'm going to play that very quickly for you guys and then talk a little bit through it. Before I play the video, this is called MineRouter, and what MineRouter is doing, it is very, very, very simple. as compared to a lot of my other classmates' work. The whole goal of it is to get you to do the things that you need to do. Because all of us, we have so many things floating in our heads all the time. We write them down in plenty of post-it notes, wherever, put it on your notes app, put it on as a text to yourself, all of that nonsense. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of those notes and I never get back to them. Like I never look at this list of to-dos ever again. And so MindRouter is really two endpoints, right? Input, which is all the stuff that you have to do, and output, which is giving me time to actually do them. So this is what MindRouter does. The idea is to get things into action. And how it does that is through smart calendaring. Let me just share my screen very quickly. All right.
So Anja, I just want to make sure, do you have your like audio on? Because I'm not sure if everybody's able to hear anything.
Oh, good point. I didn't think about that. I figure the CC was enough, but okay. Let me try to share it with sound. Let's see, share computer sound. All right. What?
And pick up the yes this afternoon. So we have the LLM in the back parsing it and getting the OCR fired up. And it says, from my voice message, it found 3 tasks. Create best demo possible, win the contest, and pick up the drugs. So without going too much into it, we can assign these to different projects, but I'm not going to do that right now because we're still at a guest stage. We're going to create 3 tasks, and it saves this note in feed. Now, let's say we're still on the road and we're not ready to put it into tasks yet or schedule the tasks. So we're going to type in a message, buy cherry tomatoes for mom, and then grab new sponges for art class. Okay. So once again, it's a multi-task note, and when I hit save, the LLM is going to process this into 2 distinct tasks. It's going to create 2 tasks. I'm not going to change the project name, just leave it at personal. Create 2 tasks. And finally, I am going to upload an image, and this image is also going to be multitasked. Right? We're going to send this in, we're going to save the image. The LLM is going to go back there and parse the image into individual tasks. And as you see, there is many tasks that was parsed from that picture. Let's just get rid of all of them except for one. Random prompting, fragmented tools, no clarity. We're going to leave this at projects. This is going to be a 1 task note. All right, it's going to create 1 task. And then last but not least, I am going to show you from a guest perspective what it looks like when we try and assign this to a new project. So go to yoga, save the idea, and I'm going to look at it. Actually, it doesn't give me anything because it's just 1 task. Well, that's okay because I really want to assign it instead of from personal to maybe fitness. So I am going to assign to project. And under here, there's only personal. So what do I do now? I want to put this in my fitness project. I'm going to cancel, and I'm going to go to the projects tab. The projects tab forces me to go into login because at this point, you are assigning basically a record of this task points to this type of non-defaulted project. That's fine. I use Google for login. This is my account. It will have something already in it. So it'll have, hey, you have local data saved in the browser, and there's going to be 4 notes and 7 tasks that were newly made that were created when I was a guest before I logged in. Would you like to merge them in with your account? Yeah, let's do that. Merge and login. So what I'm going to see is the tasks and notes that I had from before in our feed and the ones that I had prior to this session. So go to yoga. This is the picture, these are the cherry tomatoes, and these are the best demo possible. So as you see, I've been doing other things as well. So this is my account, and it has 5 voice notes, 8 text notes, and 4 pictures. Okay, this is just a smart filter, and these are the projects. So let's see here. I want to put go to yoga into my fitness project. Now let me check in the project section, and I do have health. Great. So what I do here is I will assign this note to the project health. Right? Assigned to project, now it's assigned to health. Okay, so this is where the notes feed is. This is all of my brain dumps essentially. But really, when we go down to it, we want to see it at the task level. So this is just one task in one note, but this is two tasks in one note. Right? It happens to be a text task. So we're going to go into the tasks tab, and we'll see all of our notes parsed out into specific discrete tasks as much as possible for the LLM to parse. So from this page, we can select multiple tasks that we want to say bunch together into one big clump of hours into our calendar. So when I select these tasks, I'm basically saying, hey, these tasks, when I export to calendar, I want them bunched together. I want you to decide how much time I need for each and every one of these tasks. Now go to my calendar and find a section of my calendar where this block of time is actually free in my calendar. Now I want you to send that block into this particular email address, or put this into this gmail.com's calendar. So, all right, we've got 4 tasks, and we are going to send an invite that contains all of these tasks. And right now it's defaulted to 30 minutes per task. And it's going to send an invite, which ideally in the future will look for your calendar's empty spots of 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 hours. So 30 minutes per task. And it's going to look in your calendar and see that there is a section of time for 2 hours, a 2-hour free block on your calendar from the time, I don't know, from 6 to 8 p.m. Right now, that's not there yet, but let me send the invite anyway. And I will show you that it has a 503 error that I need to work on.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I stopped sharing because I'm still stuck in this 503 error. It is something to do with the Google Calendar that I'm interfaced, the API. For whatever reason, it works on local, it doesn't work on production, but essentially, yeah, it's got a big brain. It's going to take all the stuff that's in your brain and stick it into your calendar so you have time to actually do the things that you want to do. And so, yeah, this is I'm stuck in traffic and I really need to remember to call my mom about something and talk to my pop about something. And so I don't know if you noticed in the interface, I tried to make it mobile first. There's this big ass plus button on the lower, what is that? The lower right-hand side of things. And so when you're in the car, I want to be able to click the plus, jot my voice message with multiple tasks on it, maybe review it later, maybe not. It's going to be a setting, right? And put it on my calendar. So what does it actually look on my calendar? I will show you. It is messy, but it gets the job done. Let me see where it even is right now. I'll just share my whole desktop and you get to see all my nonsense. So this is one that I did yesterday, last night, and it just plopped it in my calendar, right? 2 tasks equals 30 times 2, 30 minutes times 2 is 1 hour. So it'll block an hour of time in my calendar. Doesn't have the full brain set yet, which looks at, different slots of my calendar that's empty and put it in there. The other, hopefully the brain part is looking at each task and deciding that I will need more time to do research, like maybe 2 hours of time for any task that has to do with research versus, pick up groceries, which is going to be more like 15 minutes. So that is kind of the whole app in a nutshell because I can't remember things and nor can anybody else in this fast-moving data world.
Yep. Thank you so much, Ange. Like I've said before, I think this is like hitting a good note. And once you do this, with everything going in, and with that mobile experience that we talked about, I think this is going to be
Yes.
super awesome, and I'll be your first user. Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you.
So
Great. Oh, yeah.
thank you, Anja. With that, we move on to the last demo of the day, which was a wild card. So let's hear from Latha.
Thank you. I'm going to share it in a short while. Can you see this?
Not yet, but it's loading. Yeah, we see now.
Right. Okay. All right. What am I building? Okay. Just wanted to frame the problem, right? Buying a home nowadays is easy. You have Zillow, you have Redfin, and you have all the data that you didn't even know you needed, like walkability score or like school ratings, etc. And you're flushed with data. But remodeling that same home, you're flying blind. You are you are depending on anecdotes from a different county because that's where you have friends. You are doing your own research if you have the time, if you are that kind of a homeowner who wants to go into the details. Otherwise, you're taking everything at face value of whatever you are hearing from the contractors or architects that you're going after. Sometimes you don't even know where to start, right? That's why I built Permit Predict to solve the first mile of the construction problem, of the remodeling problem. So this app aggregates hyper local data in your neighborhood to help the homeowners to stop guessing and give you the data that exists in different places and show you what to do from a permit perspective and more late and beyond. Let's say I own a home in Menlo Park, and you would think it's Menlo Park because the city address says it's Menlo Park. But little do people realize that the jurisdiction of this is actually in unincorporated San Mateo County. So I cannot go and put a permit in city of Menlo Park. I have to go to the county. Not only that, what you see in the page right now is a hyperlocal data from Menlo Park that is giving you first on the left side the marketability of like what are the timelines that similar projects took in your neighborhood. Anywhere from 155 days for a minor project for permit approval. This is just for permit approval to 220 days for a major project, right? You didn't know this data before. I didn't know I was a remodeler, homeowner who remodeled for the first time this year. It took me only 3 years to get to this point. And it took me around wasted cost and resources because I had a lot of false starts before. And it talks about how many similar projects it found. And it gives you the view of where you can find that data because this is where your house is and where you can find data if you want to drive by. We don't show the exact address here for privacy reasons. And it also shows how many of these permits had to go for resubmissions or corrections, right? You didn't know all of this before and you want to know more. The better part of this is here we have where the property is and how much fees they paid and how long it took them for permit. And if you want to see more, that's where the premium report, if you want to get more data, you can download the premium report. Not only that, it's addressing the user's pain point of who do you hire first? For this kind of a project, do you want to go to an architect? Because if you do a small kitchen bath model, you don't need an architect. You might as well go to a general contractor or design a build firm. So this is what we do. But before as a user, I want to purchase something, I want to know if I can trust this data, right? So trust the data that I get. So that's why we built the Permit Copilot, which has been trained on the San Mateo County ordinances and schedule fee, right? So I can say, do I need a permit for a fence of 6 feet? Because I don't know, right? There is a little bit of latency. So before that, I can show you what are the questions I can ask. I can ask about what are the setbacks for ADU if I'm building an ADU, which a lot of people in my neighborhood are doing. Who should I hire first for 1,000 square feet remodeling? And so on and so forth. By that time, hopefully, yes, you do not require a fence permit if it is less than 7 feet. This kind of data I didn't have visibility into before. So let's say I'm unlocking, it's free for beta access. I'm not yet charging. And now with premium access, what do you get? Let's say what kind of projects took the longest because it was a 2,583 square feet remodeling. That's what took 220 days to permit approval. And it gives you the risks that caused some of the delays. It's suddenly the county comes back and says, hey, even though you're adding less than 700 square feet, but because you're doing a full remodel, you need a fire sprinkler. and you had civil comments or you had drainage facility location. These are the things that keeps getting flagged in the permit approval process as the risk. And you also know how much permit fees are being paid by your neighbors for what kind of model. So the 2,583 square feet remodel, the permit fees alone is 25,000. When a contractor comes and talks to you about, hey, your project is going to cost you 500K, they don't include this because this is a soft cost. And no homeowner, they don't realize it. What you saw there about similar projects, this is where we really want to know, hey, okay, that project happened, but who was the builder? How do I know what kind of description, what kind of addition did that home do? That's where we get into all the data about who the contractor is and what kind of what kind of project did that house go through, etc. And we also give an action plan of what you want to do, how much, what's the week 1, week 2, etc. I'm working on customizing this a little bit more. And the main killer thing where the users fail is like, getting the actual budget. So it gives you an example of, if you want to build this kind of square feet, what do you want to allocate? And what are the hard costs, soft costs, and what is the contingency reserve? So Permit Predict is a first mile intelligence for homeowners who want to remodel with hyper local data. Currently, it's available in West Menlo Park in unincorporated San Mateo County. Our goal is to expand this more. Our goal is also to provide the feedback on the contractors, collect aggregated reviews on the contractors who have worked on projects nearby, so that when a homeowner is looking to remodel their home, they can get it and actually start using some of the Copilot has been trained on a lot of data in San Mateo County, but expand that to other cities as well. That's it.
Maybe you just said this off of,
All
but
right.
where did the data come from for this?
It's all in the open San Mateo County. Each county has searchable permit records, but it is really unstructured. It is painful. You don't realize it. So I had to go from across multiple sources to get the data and put it in the format that makes sense.
Very cool. Thank you.
And all the permit fee schedule, the ordinances and the code, that's also in the county. Just had to feed it to the AI to make sure that it can answer only from that, and it will answer only from the database and not go beyond. So
This is so useful. I commented, I'm like, Bay Area construction is insane. And so this is, I'm redoing a part of my shop. And so this is going to be very, very useful. Thank you.
And I think like, this space is very vacant, I feel. I mean, not just like permits for this. I think permits and licenses for a lot of things. Like, just give you an example from an industry I've looked at closely, which is, let's say, the restaurant industry. Over there, it's like, serious business also. And like you mentioned, people lose money because of time, right? The permits cost separately, and time is also money, and people have to pay, like leases and all these rents, etc. But there's no way to navigate all of this. So I think this is beautiful for sure. So yeah, all the best, all the best. This was great, Lata. Okay, so if anybody has any general questions, we can take those questions now, and then, but if not, we will eventually go into voting, right? So we have a slide deck pasted as a link down there in the chat where you could, like, quickly take a look. It's a guide, just because, at least I can't keep everything on top of my head. So it's just good to refer to those slides and see which project you've loved. So obviously we're gonna have three ranks: position first, second, and third. But yeah, like Eric is saying in the chat, I think there was a very unique variety of projects this cohort. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, if any questions, anything that we can cover before we go into voting?
Hey, Sharon,
Yeah.
could you do a quick update on the mine router description?
Yeah,
It
sure.
says,
Yeah, absolutely.
it says, turn scattered thoughts, stay effortlessly organized. Important thing is get stuff done. Can
Yeah. Yeah.
manage
I
plan to existence, but
should be open to edit. And yeah, feel free to change anything like I said in the chat. If you want to edit, make an edit, sure, do that for sure.
thank you.
Sorry, where did
So
you
there's
set the
editor
slide set?
access.
Sorry, where did you set the slide set? Did I miss it?
Yes, so it's in the chat, but let me share the link one more time
Okay, I
here.
found it. Okay, thank you. I
Okay,
found it.
great. Yeah, cool. So, Mudassir, quickly checking with you if we have the voting system set up
Yeah, everything is
for
set up.
everybody vote. Beautiful. So we'll still give, like, 60 seconds, a minute, for everybody to absorb it and
Mhm.
think about it while we'll soon see voting on the screen. So, how this works is obviously, so they'll vote for top three projects, correct, Mudassir? And then you'll share the results with us, and hopefully me, or maybe in 2 minutes, Qasim is going to be back. He can eventually go and announce it.
Yeah, the voting is just gonna pop up on your screens and you can vote. And then I can just share the results with Cheyenne and he'll announce it.
Perfect. All right. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and share the voting with everybody on their screen, everybody obviously can vote for other projects. Ideally, not recommended to vote for your own. But yeah, like pick your votes. I think it's going to be a little tough. Everybody did an amazing job, but yeah, make those three choices.
Yeah, I'm launching the poll and you guys can now vote. You guys must be able to see the votings now.
Yep, we can see.
Perfect.
So we are able to, choose one project, right? The best one which we
Yes.
think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it will
Whatever
rank
you feel is
automatically,
best.
like based on
Yeah.
votes.
Mhm.
It will rank like which one got the most
Yeah.
votes
Top
first,
three.
second, and third. So
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so we just picked the one project, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you'd pick
Okay.
the project that you loved the most,
Okay.
and Zoom will tell us all the votes.
We have a tough competition. We have 3 projects going head to head.
Wow, wow.
Mudassir, make me a co-host so I can witness this live.
Yeah, sure.
This is always super exciting. I think this happened last time also. We almost had a tie at the end.
Yes.
But then there was one vote which moved the position.
Yeah, we have everything done.
And great, we also have Qasim back. So Qasim, if you're here, you will, be ready to do the honors and you can announce the result. Everybody's voting right now, and you'll soon see what the results are, and you can take over and do the announcement.
Yep.
Awesome. Sorry that I had to hop off for a few minutes. I had a VC conversation. So whenever we think fundraising is done, there's like someone that comes back to us for having another conversation. Awesome. But this was like, I just want to say something, and I'm not just saying it. And I don't like for the sake of saying it. Like I honestly, truly believe like this is probably every cohort, and this one in particular had probably some of the most mind-blowing projects and products that we've seen across all cohorts in the past. Um, I don't know if it's a function of the cohorts evolving or people getting like people in this cohort being so incredible. So yeah, hats off to everyone for such complete, incredible products. Okay, awesome. We have the results. Mudassir, can you also share the screenshot with me on Slack?
Yeah.
So we have we I think we did have a close fourth, but let me just start with number three. Um, we should have some sort of drum roll, but it's Latha, number third. Congratulations, Latha. Um, Super awesome. Incredible. Next up for number two, we have Anja. So amazing, amazing job, Anja. You came in second. And then of course you'll get so Osama will reach out for prizes on Slack. You'll still be part of Slack. And then first one we have Sam. So congratulations, Sam. I I have to say, like, your UI is probably the best UI we've ever seen across all five cohorts in the last 5 months of us doing this. So is mind-blowingly incredible. So congratulations. Anything you want to say, Sam? Final, not final, but any words of wisdom for everyone?
Maybe not words of wisdom, but just thank you so much to everyone here. I know Katrina as our pod leader, Usama, Ali. I know I was meant like speaking to you guys all the time, and all the support from everyone was amazing. I know I learned so much in 2 weeks. Feels like it's been 2 months, but yeah, just wanted to say thank you. It's been amazing. I'm really glad that I joined, even at 3 a.m. in the morning.
We did not know you were joining at 3 a.m. So that's like some real, commitment. Awesome job. And I sent you a message on Slack as well. Would love to have a one-on-one with you and get your feedback on our UI because that was like super incredible for the next version that we're building. So with that, I think this wraps up this cohort. Like I said, this is not the end of the boot camp. It is the end of the boot camp, not the end of this community. Please reach out to me if you need anything. More than happy to support. We're going to continuously give you updates on where we are at as a product. And we have a big launch coming up with a web version of the desktop UI builder that you've been using. So a lot of stuff happening. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, Eric or Sean, if you guys want to say anything, and then we can wrap up. And Katrina is also here. Sorry, I didn't see you, Katrina.
Yeah, I gave my comments, but I was like literally blown away with everything that I saw. I think this cohort had like a very different, diverse approach to projects. Like they were tackling like something very, very different, right? So it was very interesting to see all of this. And again, congratulations to all the winners. And I agree with you. I think that's the hands down the best UI we've seen in all these five cohorts. So. Great job, everybody. I would say just one thing, keep building, keep building. That's the most important thing. You don't want to lose this muscle, build this muscle as much as you can, and this will definitely be life-changing for you. So you need any information, reach out to anybody, stay connected with your like pod members or fellow cohort members. And then, if you want to know more about packages, which one you can use to keep building, reach out to anybody. And I'm pretty sure anyone from the SnapDev team would be helpful.
Yep.
I would just say I really enjoyed being a mentor this time around, and I want to thank my pod members for bringing me along in their building process. And I said this at the beginning of the call, but it's just amazing when you arm people with the tools to pursue some idea they're passionate about. Like, look what pops out. All these amazing, diverse ideas that are, as someone said, kind of like come from a place of passion. So really fun to be part of the whole process with you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you so much, Katrina, as well, for being mentors. And yeah, that wraps up our cohort 5. We will be sharing feedback forums, updates on the next cohort. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Really, really appreciate it. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, and please do fill out the feedback form and subscribe to our subscriptions. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.